IP address of the router, 192.168.52,
Yeah.
whatever. And they give you the login, and you log into it, and you're in it, you can do whatever you want now.
Oh, perfect. Okay.
So you don't have to have a Ethernet directly to the router, as long as you have connectivity to the router, whether it's Wi-Fi, whether it's direct. You connect to it, you open up those ports. Now you load it on your system, and you're done. You're ready to go.
Okay.
And I'm going to go through that. I'm going to show you on the system how to add one.
Okay.
Okay. So under DNS there, so under email, if they want email notification. When I say email notification, if you create motion recording only, anytime there's a motion, it will send an email. Okay? But just know if they get an email, make sure they create an account. Let's say a free Gmail account.
Yeah, because
Create
then
a
I
new-
get.
and add it that way. Another reason that I ask people to do this is because if you get a Gmail account, the logs that come to you are saved on the server. Whereas if it's a text, you delete it. It's gone. But if you get an email, it's always going to be on the Gmail server.
Okay, now let's say for example, if they anytime somebody moves, they get a
They'll get an alarm.
Okay, so let's say it's a month down the line and they want to check on the very first one. Will it still be there?
On the email,
On the
notification will be.
Yeah, like,
But the storage may not. Depends on how much storage you have.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like like.
Depends on how far you go
Okay.
back. So I'll show you here once we do playback, where you can tell, okay, I can only go back 14 days, or I'll show you how you can tell
Okay.
how much storage you do have. So here's where you would set up the email authentication, email server, interim, the SMTP, we don't use that much. Again, here's the ports that you're going to use. Live view. Under live view, this, if you notice, it says VGA output. The live view, you can select what your live view is going to be. So if you have a VGA plugged in, which I do, I have a live view of 1+5. Okay? You can change that.
What is that? Oh, the one camera.
One
okay.
camera?
Okay, I got you.
+5. You choose what your display is going to be. So again, depends on what you want it to be.
Okay.
Mine's going to be VGA. I can change that to HDMI. Depends on what I have plugged in. Right now I have VGA. I have 1+5. I don't have any camera switching, like sequencing through.
Mhm.
I don't have it doing. There's no switching. If there's going to be enabling audio output, I don't have audio. Again, it just depends on your live view, what you want it to be. Your view here, I have 1+5. I can choose what cameras go where.
Doesn't matter where you connect them on the DVR. You could choose.
You can go here and say, I want number 5 to be the first one.
That's awesome.
I want number 3 to be here. You can move them around based on what you want. Exceptions. Here's the exceptions you get. Audible warnings, notify surveillance center, send an email, trigger an output. So the events, if you notice, I have it enabled. So if you notice down here,
Yeah,
it tells you what those are. I had motion detection on camera number 1, number 2, and number 3. So again, you can disable that feature right there, because people may say, oh, I don't want to see that. I'm tired of seeing that.
Yeah, that's anytime I always disable it because people always think their system is not working
No.
correctly. And
So
everything.
again, if you want it gone, disable it.
Yeah, I
But
always
just
do
know
that.
you're not going to get the notification. It's a give or take. It's like, if it's security guard, you want that. If it's just somebody looking at it, yeah, you don't want it. You don't want to see it.
Yeah, because I've got so many times that people call me and be like, "Hey, my system's not working. I got a little triangle on the bottom." I'm
That's
like,
not it. So under user, by best practices, anytime you set it up, you know how you set it up, you plug it in, you do the firmware, you do your password. I always tell everybody, keep this login to yourself. All right? Keep it to your company, admin, whatever it is. Leave it. Do not give it to the customer. Do not give it to the end user. Create them a new one that says ABC Company or Mr. Smith and his password. And from here, you give him permissions, okay? You can give him all of them, that's fine. But I stress strongly, do not allow them to use the admin and the password to log into the system. Create them one. Leave the admin to you guys, and also create your company, a second one that says service. So that when you go back out, your service team has one, but you always got the admin to fall back on.
Gotcha. And how do we add them right there?
Right here at the bottom.
Oh, perfect, okay.
You add it, create it, put the password, etc. That's it. Once you do that, you edit and you give them the permissions. So you give yourself whatever it is, okay?
Okay.
But always do that, so by default, if I go to your site, I would want to see three. I would want to see the admin, I would want to see your service, and I would want to see the customers. You can have up to 31 plus the admin, 32. All right, so you do that, that way they can log in, because what happens is, if they log in with the admin and lock you out, you gotta call in for support. You gotta call in and change the password. You gotta go out to the physical site to change the password. You gotta, it's a headache.
Yeah.
Avoid it, okay?
I had to do that once.
I'm not too familiar, we do point of sale. I don't use it, but you can, if you're doing a register, you're doing any type of, there's an input you can use on the back via 45 circuit. So you can do a point of sale, which would then trigger connectivity to it.
Yeah, I've done that.
So yeah, if you have a register, they want to do point of sale, anytime there's a sale, it will trigger or take a snapshot of that sale.
Okay.
So once this is a plug and play in VR. So once you've done that, you'll see the cameras are automatically assigned an IP address. Remember I told you that you see the IP addresses here, 2, 6, 4, 8, 9. So under system configuration, network, you see that IP address? That's what the cameras are being assigned. 192.168.254.2.4. Everything's gonna be in that range automatically. So all the cameras are given an IP address. If you go here, you'll see either a little triangle there where you can actually hit play.
And the IP address, that's the one you said I could create whatever it is, like 1.1, what, blah, 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 blah. But that's the range that's gonna give it, right?
Right in here.
Okay.
They're all gonna be in that same range. You notice they're all the same except it's number 2
Yeah.
and 4, same range. Whatever you want it to be. So once you've done that, you can hit here. You notice there's an exclamation mark here. What does it say? IP camera doesn't exist. Or it may say there's an IP conflict. Or it may say that password. It may identify that there's a problem with the password. Okay? So, for example, if there's an issue here and you see a camera down here and it says password, what you got to do is you got to log into that camera and change the password. So that's why I stated that if you plug in the cameras and then power it up, password is pushed to the cameras. But if you plug a camera in now, after it's turned on, you're not going to be able to see it. All right?
Okay.
And the reason you can't see it, you think it's broke, something's wrong, can't see it, won't. You got to log into that camera, change the password
To the same one.
to the same as this, and then all of a sudden, you'll see it. So
So
that's why it does it. People say, well, doesn't it automatically? No. I think that with our new software, it's gonna be pushed down, but I haven't tried it yet.
So even if it's not even an IP camera, just make sure everything's plugged in first, and then.
I would,
Okay.
that way you can see them here. You'll automatically be able to see them here, okay? It'll give you the IP address, it'll give you the model number, or the camera number, camera name here, all right? And then the serial number, if you wanna expand this, there's your serial number. It'll also give you the firmware build. So if you have to call into support, they're gonna ask you for this information right here. They wanna know what the serial number is of that camera. They wanna know what the firmware is of that camera, okay? What the model number is of the camera. So if you ever have to call to troubleshoot, they're gonna want that, all right? So, let's say you have a camera and it's not a HIK vision camera.
Okay.
You want to do a custom add-in. You enter the IP address of the camera, you have to give it one. Let's say it's an Axis camera. And you give it an IP address in that same range, all right? Then once you've done that, you gotta choose what kind of camera is it. All right? Or you can just choose OnVIF as a default. Once you've done that, there's your management report.